Hello and welcome to Yesudian Yoga Week 14. Today we're going to start as usual with full yogi breathing. We're going to do the inhale and the exhale. We're not going to hold our breath. Just going to be inhale deep into the belly, ribs, chest on a count of 8. Exhale on a count of 8. We're going to do that 7 times through. Start with a normal inhale. Full exhale. And then inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And breathe normally. Next exercise is Bhastrika, bellows breath. We inhale, exhale as quickly as we can, 10 times in a row. Then we hold our breath for between 7 to 14 seconds. I'm just going to count to 7, but if you want to, you can go for longer. So again, start with a normal inhale, and then on the exhale we start. It's possible to get lightheaded very quickly doing this. If you do, then pause, skip a round, or just do it much more slowly, or just only do 1 or 2 rounds of this. Don't do too many. So in round number 2, normal inhale. With the exhale, it starts. Relax, take a normal breath. And with the exhale, it starts. Be careful not to swallow your tongue like I just did. Interesting. Okay, Pranayama number 4. This looks a lot like push-ups and feels like it too, but we do it. We come into a plank pose, inhale deeply, hold our breath, and then we do 5 slow push-ups with breath held. Don't squeeze it though. And then breathe out, slide back to child's pose. So here we are decoupling movement from breath. We're also training ourselves to hold our breath properly. And at the same time, we're getting a bit of exercise and chest expansion. So take an inhale. Hold your breath, 5 push-ups. Slide to child's pose. And if you need more breaks in between, you take more breaks, not a problem. But if you do this every day, you'll find at the end of the week, those 5 push-ups are much easier to do. Inhale, hold your breath, 5 push-ups. And exhale. Good. Take a little bit longer of a break while I read. Remind myself what's coming next. Yes. Ardha-matsyendrasana, which is a twist. We start with our legs stretched out. Bend the right knee, grab the left ankle, pull it around and place it to the outside of the right hip. If both sit bones, and hopefully at this point both sit bones can stay on the ground, when the right knee crosses, might not. If this hip bone rides up off the ground, put your foot on the inside of the left shin, otherwise put on the outside of the right knee. Pull that right knee, the left knee, sorry. Pull that right knee over and turn to the side. You can reach down, grab the left knee, and just look to the side. The right sit bone might come up off the floor, so plant it again. That will help get the twist going. Engage your core so the twist happens throughout your back, not just in the lower back. Release. Slight counter twist. Sit up on the other side. Leg starts straight. Bend the left knee. Grab the right ankle, put it to the outside of the left hip. Left foot goes where the right one was, either inside or outside. You want to balance both sides, even if one side is more flexible than the other. Set up the pose in the same way. My elbow goes to the inside of my left knee. Turn to the side, engage my core. If I can, I reach down, grab my right knee. That increases the twist. You notice that I'm not turning my head all the way to the back. Just a personal choice today. But I am engaging my core, making sure that the twist happens throughout my back. And release. Just check, was that 2 or 3 times? And it's all 3 times, yes. No, it's only twice. Good. Hard to see the difference between 2 and 3 from this distance. So set up on the other side. Again, the exact same way you did the first time around. Make sure both sit bones are planted. The hand that's behind you is on its fingertips. That keeps your shoulder open and able to guide the twist. Don't forget to engage your core. Try to sit tall. Release, a little bit of a counter twist. Set up the legs for the opposite side. Left hand is on its fingertips behind me. And release. Nice. Next is Trikonasana, triangle pose. This is in standing. Left foot in front, right foot behind. Just a walking pace. Standard walking pace. Push your hips back as you tilt over to the side. Bring your torso so that you are already facing directly to the side of the room, and then come down. Your left hand comes down towards your shin. Right hand goes up towards the ceiling. If you like, you can turn and look at your hand. Adjust your hips. Push them further back. Both legs want to be as straight as they can be. The front leg might be slightly bent if you feel too much pull behind your knee. The goal is not to get to the ground. The goal is to be open to the side. And then as things release, you can slide further down. Do the same side again. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, tilt. Exhale, look down. Inhale, up. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms up to the side. Exhale, push your hips back. Tilt. Come into triangle. Exhale, look down. Inhale, come up. Step to the front. Now a point of note, when you're coming down, like when you're standing to the side, your hips are facing the side perfectly. And then as you tilt down, the left hip, or the hip that's in behind, is going to rotate and come slowly to the front. Just wait for the cuckoo clock to finish. It's anatomically impossible for most of us to prevent that. So that hip is going to gently face the floor. Your goal is to try to keep it back and open as much as possible. Don't beat yourself up though if the hip faces the floor slightly. Make sure though that your torso does not face the floor. Your torso faces to the side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hips back. This is where my left hip sort of nods down towards the floor. And then here I open it up as far as I can. At the same time, I'm opening up my torso, straightening both legs, extending out through my fingertips and my toe tips, and the crown of my head to stay nice and long. Exhale, look down. Inhale, come up. Exhale to release. Inhale. Second one, arms up. Exhale, hips back. Tilt. Think about where that left hip is going. Think about your legs, your fingers. You're always thinking about the pose when you're in a yoga pose. That's really the difference between this and just stretching. That here we're actively gauging what our body is doing and how we adjust it to get further into the pose. Further doesn't necessarily mean deeper, but it means into better form. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Number 3 on this side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, tilt. Exhale, look down. Inhale up. And come to standing at the front of your mat. Next is Padastasana. This one requires a little bit of balance. You may want to grab something like a wall beside you. Or you might want to just challenge yourself and do it standing here. If you've got a very thick mat like me, you may want to step off of it because you'll lose some contact with the floor. And it may be harder to hold your balance. I'm going to try it on the mat. If it doesn't work, you'll notice and I'll step off the mat. I'm going to ground myself through the right foot so the left one can come up. I might just choose to grab my knee, pull it in. I might choose to reach down and grab my toe and then stay standing tall. Right hand is for balance, just out into air for me. And then if this is working, you can extend the leg. May not come completely straight, that's okay. Straighten the standing leg, straighten the torso. And eventually with time, the other leg will straighten as well. Release. Come down. I'm going to switch sides. Focus your energy down the left leg. First of all, test your balance. If you like, squeeze the knee in. Reach down, grab your toe, stand back up, and then while you're standing tall, extend the leg. Don't do anything to get that leg out with your torso. Your torso stays tall. Pull that right hip back if you can when you're standing. Chances are it's moved forwards. Maybe you can see that I went outside barefoot today. Oh well. Release. Come back, stand tall. I'm going to repeat again on either side, and it says 3 times. So we'll do it 3 times each side. So that's 1 each side. Do whatever version works for you. Remember, stand tall and extend the leg. Like the hand, if balance is working, can come back to the hip. Pull the left hip back. Crown of the head is extending, foot is extending forward and the other one down. Release. Try to do this with as much poise and grace as you can. That helps with the balance muscles. If you sort of stumble your way through it, then you don't exercise the balance muscles nor the brain connection to those balance muscles. If you do it slowly, even if you use the wall, if you do it slowly, then you start working on those too. Later on in life, you'll appreciate having exercised the connection between the brain and all the small muscles that keep your balance. On the left side, last time. Tall, extend, and to hip, whoa, and there you go. So what it looks like when you lose balance. It was not a critical loss, just a minor loss. Release. You'll find it easier when doing balance poses to find a point that's fixed and about eye level that you can look at and focus on. Try to drop the right hip. Keep the leg as long as it can go. Excellent. Release. Shake it out, walk it out, because the next is our favorite Mayurasana. Still working on this one myself. If you remember this is peacock pose. Fingertips pointing towards your knees. And then you move your knees to be on either side. Bring your hands as close together as works for you. I normally put a rolled up cloth underneath my wrists, but I've been doing this now enough that my wrists have loosened that I don't need that any longer. If you need it, please go and get it. And you'll notice, because you can't get your forearms vertical when your hands are flat on the ground. You're feeling too much of a stretch coming up the inside of your arms or on your fingertips. Bend your elbows, stick them into your stomach, head on the floor, legs back, and then try to lift everything off the floor. Even if it's little baby hops. Well, this is probably my least favorite pose. Can't explain why. It'd be great if I could do it. Very impressive if I could do it with grace and skill, but I'm not there. Head on the ground, feet back, elbows digging, and engage your biceps. You gotta lean forward a little bit so your feet come off the floor. Just managing little hops today. Oh well, that's okay. We do what we can. Pretty sure the book says 3 times for this, it does. So if you're finding getting the head and the feet off the floor at the same time, means you've got to move too far forward. So if you're unbalanced a little bit in your body, and well, unbalanced is maybe the wrong word. If your proportions are such that to get your feet off the floor, you've got to bring your torso very far forward. And this pose is quite difficult. If your legs, for instance, are not that heavy, you could put on work boots. That might help. Or you bend your knees and bring them up gently to the side. I'll demonstrate how that could work. Elbows dig into your belly. Head on the floor. I'm not straightening up my legs, bringing my heels together. My knees are off the ground, and then I lift my feet off the ground. Yeah, well, that's a pretty poor demonstration. Anyway, the next time we do it, it'll be awesome. It's one of those that, also there are days where things work, days where things don't work. You got to get a pretty relaxed, calm mind for various reasons, and my mind is not calm and relaxed today. Hopefully it will be in the days to come. Next pose is Halasana, plow pose. As you know, I don't do the full plow pose with a big crick in the neck. What I do instead is I just kick my legs over, hold onto my hips, and then let my back round, my legs sort of sag down towards the floor. And if this is working, and then reach up, grab my toes, backs of my hands are on the floor, and I'm rounding my back. So there's some pressure on the back of my neck, but my neck is not bent such that my chin is forced into my chest, which is the sort of standard in normal plow pose. And it says to do this 3 times. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer because I like this pose. Eventually you try to straighten your legs here. You're stretching your hamstrings. A nice rounding stretch of your back. There should be no strain in your lower back in this pose. And leaving my hands overhead. I'm going to bring my hips slowly to the ground. And still leaving my hands overhead, my feet slowly come to the ground. That was number 1. Now we come up to number 2. I'm doing these in relatively rapid succession. When you're doing this on your own, I would suggest taking a longer rest in between poses. And the hips come down, hands try to stay overhead, head stays on the ground. Got to use your core to come down slowly and with control. And we pause here for a moment. Pause for as long as you like. I'm doing this relatively fast, as I said. And then legs back overhead. In each successive plow pose, try to think of your breath going into your ribs, pushing your ribs out to the side. Think of your legs, energy going through your heels. Get your legs long. Relaxation through your back and your shoulders. This is a nice pose to calm yourself. If you're agitated for any reason, this or Padastasana, which is essentially the same thing, only seated. 2 very calming poses. And then I'm going to roll out Nice and slowly. Keeping feet overhead as long as I can. And my hips can come slowly to the ground. Excellent. So now it's 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of Savasana. If you can't make it to 10 minutes, that's okay. Try to do a little bit every day. I find that the meditation and the Savasana are actually two of the hardest poses because you do have to sit there. The only thing that you're working with is your brain. In all the other poses, your brain has got the crutch of the body. You're moving into the poses, you're thinking about the poses. In meditation, you're just seated, you're not moving. In Savasana, you're lying on your back. Savasana is actually harder, I find, than meditation because there you're fully supported. At least in seated meditation, you're sitting, and once in a while you can think about sitting tall again because you slouched. You think about relaxing your hips, and then you can come back to your meditation. So try to do them in succession. If you can do 10 minutes each, it's fantastic. If you can't, whatever you do is fantastic. Don't worry. Namaste. Take care. See you next week.